Welcome to Fuel. Fuel stands for Finance, Unity, Empowerment, Legacy. Today, we continue our conversation on finance, even a child can understand. Don't put all your sneakers under the upstairs bathroom, part 2. Enjoy.
So what happens when you don't have a budget?
Then you rob from Peter and you pay Paul. Or like some of my friends, you get paid on Friday and you're broke on Monday.
Mhm.
Or you have to call your friend up and say, hey, can you loan me $75 for a day? I'll give it back to you tomorrow. Or like Brutus used to say on the Popeye cartoons, can you give me a hamburger today? I'll give it back to you at some date in the future. So the borrower, if he's not careful, becomes a slave to the lender. And I had this conversation 2 days ago with someone who wanted to borrow money off of me for a day. And it made no sense to me because you should not have an emergency that you can't put off for a day. And then if you have those kind of emergencies, maybe you need to rebudget.
And also what that says is that if you ask for it for a day, then that's the amount that you weren't budgeting. That's the amount of lack of knowledge of where your bottom line is, that you overspent that amount. You know that you're going to get paid on whatever that next day is, and you can do it, but you overspent because you didn't budget appropriately.
So that goes to the statistic, Dr. Jackie, that very few Americans, if they have it wasn't even 1,000, it was like a $500 emergency, will not be able to cover it.
Right. Very few.
Very few. What I used to make my daughter do is back when we had checkbooks. See, they try to get rid of checkbooks so you don't know how much money you don't have, and credit cards, so you don't know what you're actually spending. But I would make her, when she reconciled her checkbook, when she got to $1,000, I made her cross the 1,000 out and put 0. So she always had $1,000 emergency fund. And, we don't think about emergency funds. When I was younger, when I got my first job, Dr. Jackie, I thought $1,000 was it. So I saved and saved, and I got $1,000 in the bank, and I was like, woohoo, patting myself on the back. My first emergency, $1,250. I had to ask my mother for $250 back in the 70s. Ooh, I'm trying to emancipate myself. I'm trying to be free. I'm man. So I said, I'm gonna save up $2,500. So I saved, didn't go out, didn't date. So I got $2,500 together, clear and free. Now I can go and start blowing money, and my car breaks. Now I got a $4,000 emergency, and now I got to ask my mom and my dad because I needed my car. We need our cars, right? So, and I was sitting there, and I didn't know Dr. Jackie at the time. I didn't know Mac at the time. I was a young man, just trying to understand money, and I realized that the whole word emergency messes budget all up. You can budget all you want, but the question mark is, how much is my emergency going to cost? Wow.
And we've talked way back, for those who followed us all along, about this pyramid of understanding your finances, and that bottom rung is foundation, because you need a strong foundation. The next one is your debt management, but oh my gosh, here comes an emergency. And so the next one is an emergency fund. So understand that it has a place. This emergency fund has a place of its own. You don't just blend it all in with everything, because you need a separate area, a separate account, a separate distribution for the emergency that will come, not if. It will come and it will blow you away. It just will.
Yeah. I looked at my retirement money as my emergency money, but forgetting that I was going to retire one day.
Yeah, yeah. And and that's why, going back again to previous episodes, if you could get into just that, beginning with $1 a day, make make that the groundwork for your emergency. Excuse me, I can't even talk today. For your emergency fund, you know, you know in advance that's money that you're going to have to get to fairly easily, fairly quickly. So it may not get the gains that other things that we would talk about here would, but you know that at the drop of a dime you can get it. And part of that also, and I'm trying to bring this back into our children, also requires a bit of discipline, that you have to work that plan and stay consistent with that plan. So for me, it's about also teaching people, whether it's adults or children, how to actually embrace the plan, and like using the concepts, how you if you do something for 21 straight days, it becomes just a part of your lifestyle as opposed to something that's foreign to you. You know, it starts right there, to just be excited when you're able to put that dollar away. Yes, I did it for me. you know Paying yourself in the truest sense of paying yourself, which is not to be able to go out and buy something, but to know that if you have a real emergency, and like Dennis said, we all have real emergencies, then you can have a reserve that's right there for you, that you can use and not have to sweat going into your income that you get from your job or from your business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What I do is, since we are in the business of helping people become financially free, and that's a weird term, because when you're a child, you are financially free. So you got to teach a child how to go from being financially free to being financially in trouble, and then get out of trouble.
Out of trouble.
And a lot of times they can't figure out how to get out of trouble if they've never been in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that you're protecting your child from the cruel, cruel world, and it's a good thing to do that. But, you know, um, sometimes you just got to go through some stuff. And your
Yeah.
job, I tell my daughter all the time that my job is not to tell you what to do anymore. My job is just to be there when you can't figure it out. So the reason why I don't say anything anymore is because you've done everything I've ever asked you to do. And all you got to do now is understand what I taught you. What about interest rates, about insurance, about the job? What does job mean? It means different things to different people. Some say journey of the broke, some say paycheck every Friday. Well, there's a story about a lion in the zoo and the lion in the wild. The lion in the zoo gets fed at 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m., and then he sleeps the rest of the day. So he knows he don't have to wake up till 2:45, till 5:45, till 8:45. But that lion in the jungle, when that sun is up, he is up, or she. Because unfortunately, lions, the females do most of the hunting, except for while the boys are alone, when the boys are hanging out on boy night. But the whole point is, do you want to be fed, or do you want to be a hunter? And what I mean by that is being a hunter for knowledge. Interest. They never talk about interest rates or APRs. They never talk about IPOs or ICOs. We never talk about stock market, Wall Street. We never talk about, well, I said insurance already, sorry, mutual funds and CDs. And what's the difference between a bank product, a financial institution product? What's the differences? You know, how do we know if we're winning or losing with a 401k or an IRA or a Roth IRA? What does it mean to have a Roth IRA if you're making $200,000 a year? It means you can't get one. So the benefits of it are meaningless to you. But what if you're making 50,000? Okay, you can get a Roth tax-free vehicle. You can get a regular IRA. You can get a 401k, 403b, 557. You can send your kids to college because you saved up in a college account, HSA for your health cert. You know, there's so many things that are tugging at you. You know, it's like going down the yellow brick road and every brick you step on is some knowledge. You know, do you skip through it or do you step on every brick?
Exactly. Because you know, you were talking about the IRAs and the one of the things once I came to an understanding about the IRA and the limitations of what you can do with an IRA, the first thing I thought is, well, wait a minute. You mean to tell me I have a vehicle that I can only invest a certain amount of money into? What kind of sense does that make when maybe I want to do more and maybe I can do more outside of the institution, so to speak, and be able to get a much better return on investment? So, you know, again, to me, it all pops back into discipline. I can't think about that money that would have been designated for the IRA, and now that I'm doing my own thing, that I can just pinch and take from it every time I feel like it. You know, I have to treat it in the truest respect that this is just untouchable, and treat it that way until its purpose is actually manifested later on in my life. So, you know, again, Dennis, when you're dealing with children who want everything now, you know, they don't see the value of savings because they don't think that they'll ever die. They don't ever think that they'll have responsibilities, so they're going to live forever. You know, we do crazy things as children. I used to want to be Evil Knievel, and I had a setup where I made a ramp, and I used to take my bike and launch that bike off the ramp and fly in the air, thinking I was all that. And I actually got joy in crashing, not knowing that literally my life was in jeopardy every time I did it. Okay. And so I'll put it this way. It's amazing that I even have children because of the way that I landed sometimes. So, you know, for a child to then be able to get them to start thinking about things that are, you know, really not yet to come. Because like you said, Dennis, they're already financially free. So now you got to get them to somehow turn around and think, well, you know what? I got to think about a rainy day, even though I've never had a rainy day. And just being able to put that. So I don't even know if you actually put that in words. You just put it in actions that force them to already be doing these practices unawares. What do you think about that?
All I can say, I'm sorry, Dr. Jack, were you gonna say something? Oh, all I can say is I was a child once.
Were you?
And you know, we didn't have commercialization of everything. Pretty much any movie you watch, there's commercials in the movie, during the movie, after the movie, before the movie, sports events. So we weren't as inundated with things that you could buy as people are now. I mean, if you watch YouTube or Netflix or whatever's out there, you're going to be inundated with commercials. You're going to think that somebody's living better than you because they got a $500 purse. It's just the way we are. But as a child, we didn't have that. We had word of mouth. We had child to child gratification. My mommy bought me a new bike. And you run in the house and say, hey, mommy, Ricky's mommy bought him a new bike. Can I have a new bike? And, so we always want something. So what my mother did actually was say, yeah, you can have a new bike, but I'm going to pick some chores out that you can do, and we'll negotiate how much each chore would generate for you. So very similar to when you were going to the store for the ladies in the neighborhood, the people in the neighborhood, Mac, you get paid for doing chores. And that led to not wanting as much, for one. And when you made money, you had to really decide, do you really want that train set, the car set, the spinning top, or new sneakers? And when I grew up in Philadelphia, you didn't go to school if you didn't have on Chuck Taylors. So let me tell you, they were $9.95. Either you paid $9.95 for Chuck Taylors, or you had a song you had to sing. Let me see if I can remember the song. Bobos. They cost $1.99. Bobos. They look real fine. Bobos.
Hey, Dennis,
And since I can't
sing, my shoe back in the day was the PF Flyers. And I
Oh,
swear
yeah.
to you, I thought when I was on the basketball court, I literally thought that they made me jump higher.
Yeah, well, jumping higher and crying because people talking about your pick a pays. What was that? There'd be a bin, pick out of the bin, and you try to get your sneakers. Woo! My dad tried that one year, and I said, Dad, I'm sorry, brother. You take those sneakers right back to the golf course you found them.
Yeah.
Because if I wear those to school, the teacher gonna talk about me. And I'm gonna have to sing that song on the bus all the way home. So, there's a lot of pressure, about different things. And even now, at my advanced age, I feel pressure sometimes when I go out and I don't be careful about what I wear. And I see people staring at me and I'm like, geez, why did I wear these sneakers? Because they're comfortable. They look ugly as sin. But, I learned the hard lesson. I went to my daughter's school, and this is when Velcro first came out on sneakers. And I had a pair where you pull them across to tighten them up. And I was sitting in the stands. And my daughter walked over to me. She said, Dad, why'd you wear those? Like, wear what? I don't know. She's talking about my shirt, my pants. She said the sneakers. My friends had asked me if you were like Rain Man and you forgot how to tie your sneakers.
Oh my gosh.
Needless to say, I wore my Converse to her school from that point on. Although I forgot about peer pressure, I also forgot that she had to deal with peer pressure. But, you just got to be realistic. You got to work hard and you got to make decisions. And the sooner you learn how to make decisions, the sooner you learn conflict management, the sooner you learn how to control your disappointments, then you could be an adult and suffer for the next 60 years in silence.
So, another part of that, and this gets really hard when you add peer pressure to it, is being able to decipher the difference between a want and a need. Okay. So, we need shoes. All right. Do we need the Converse versus the Velcro? Do we need the Chuck Taylor versus the Bobo? Do we need the PF Flyer versus the Pick and Pay? But in those situations and examples that you gave, there was a true need. But children have a hard time deciphering. So their needs, because we're in such a commercialized environment, is every glittery, glowy thing they see on TV, every glittery, glowy thing they see in the store. Excuse me. I was in a store right around the holiday season. This little kid, probably 5 years old, was in the cart with his dad, and he emphatically, Daddy, I need that truck. Okay, now we all know he had loads of trucks and cars and planes and all that at home, but I need, not I want, I need that. And so, but that is a time when, and he said, no, you don't need it, kept on going. But that is a time when we can use our power as parents and friends and etc. to help educate our kids, because there is a difference and it will impact you later. So yeah, we all need shoes and we need the best, but then we talk about those kids who go out and buy those $300 and $400 Jordans and then get knocked over the head because somebody else decides they need it more. That's a whole nother element we're not going to go into, but just wanted to throw in that part of helping our kids understand the needs and the wants, because we will often put on our budget, if we ever sat down and said, those wants as a priority to a need. Like at the end of Dr. Huxtable's experience with Theo, he said, son, you forgot food. Because the kid was walking, because I need to look good and I need, but had not put a really important need of existence. So
I think Theo had an answer to everything he did, though. He said, I just come here to eat with you.
Doesn't that
you
happen?
guys buy my clothes.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Doesn't that happen? The minute they go right back home.
They do. They go right back home. And you're right. He did have it, and that is what kids do. But at the same time, to move more and more towards that adulthood and that understanding of what is needed, we need to put that in part of our education. So I was looking at, I'm just going to say it's one other thing. I was looking at our moniker fuel and the E standing for empowerment, and how that E has so much information in, because we are trying to empower our audience, but empower our children. And that E for me is also educate, because the two are together. So that is what we need to keep in front of us.
Yeah, and I think, and I'll make this my final thought, that I think we as the parents, as the older influences, we have to set that tone. We at this point in our lives, we have been through all the trends, everything that's supposed to be the end thing, and those are just phases, and we had to really prepare our young people for life and reality. At the same time, not taking away all their fun and joy. I think it's cool to want to have ambitions for stuff, that doesn't necessarily relate to financial survival. But I think everything in its proper place. So in my way of thinking, and what I try to instill with my children, is that do the heavy lifting early. So, use your early adult life to set your financial foundation so that when you're 35, and older, you don't have to worry about this stuff. You can travel and do whatever you want to do, retire early. If you even retired at all, be an entrepreneur. Think on those levels more so than just following the trend. And I'll wrap with this, because I told them, instead of trying to always catch up with the trend, you be the trend. You be the one that others follow.
Right on.
Yeah, that's it.
Right on. I tell my daughter the same thing. She wanted a pair of Michael Jordans in high school, And I said, well, do you play basketball? She said, no. I said, well, they give the basketball team Michael Jordans. Won't you join the team and get a free pair? I said, otherwise, Michael Jordan going to keep his sneakers.
Yeah.
He's a billionaire and we thousandaire. I'm not paying that much money for no darn sneakers. And I'm sorry, I'm not telling anybody how to spend their money. Anyway,
well, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Anyway, if you think it makes your child look better to have old $300 sneakers and go to school and learn nothing, then you're the great parent.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, bro, I can afford the $300. I can afford the $400 sneaker. I'm still not buying it.
Yeah, I think at our, when we were coming up, sneakers were so cheap. I mean, if you paid $20 for a pair of sneakers, you like busted the budget.
Right.
Now it's very hard for me to spend more than $50 for sneakers. I'm like, man, it's gonna be dirty by the time I get around the corner. But
exactly.
I had a friend that had like maybe 50, 60 pair of sneakers. And I was like, wow, that is your investment? He said, yeah, man, I could sell these for this much and sell these. I said, okay, that's cool. The house flooded, the sneakers flooded.
Oh.
So, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't all put all your sneakers under the bathroom, upstairs bathroom.
What a way. I think that's a pretty good closing line. What you think about that?
I can let that go.
Can we use that as the title?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't think I can top that. It's a cut.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes you got to know when to just give up the ghost. That's it. Hey, everybody, on behalf of Dr. Jackie, myself, and Dennis, thank you for joining us and have a great rest of the day.
To your success.
Blessings.
Thank you for joining us for part 2 of Finance Even a Child Can Understand. Don't put all your sneakers under the upstairs bathroom, part 2. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Fueling Future Generations, and also reach out to us by email at fuelingfuturegenerations2020@gmail.com. Have a great day.